What if I told you there was one prospecting method that you could do to land yourself on the phone with 20% more prospects every single day and get booked appointments on your calendar? What's going on, guys? Zach Williams here with Conversionly, and today we are talking about the one thing that no one wants to do, but everyone wishes they could do better. What's the prospecting method we're talking about today? You got it, cold calling. Today we're going to show you how you can effectively cold call prospects that want nothing to do with you at first, get them on the phone, get them set up for an appointment, and close them into a deal. We're going to unlock the same tactics and strategies that I used scaling my marketing agency by cold calling different prospects across the country. And we're going to show you how to do this effectively so you don't have to think about who you're dialing. Now, first and foremost, why do we even want to talk about cold calling? A lot of people will say it's a prospecting method that's no longer beneficial. Maybe there's a better source for prospecting than cold calling. Realistically, omni-channel prospecting is really what you should be doing, where you're hitting people across email, phone calling, Facebook DMs, Instagram DMs, LinkedIn messaging, door knocking. You want to be hitting prospects from all different angles. That's going to increase the likelihood that you succeed in your prospecting campaign. With that said, 92% of all customer interactions are conducted via the telephone. Why is that? Consumers spend 5.4 hours daily on their cell phone. So one effective way to get your prospects on the phone is by cold calling. But you need a system and a framework to write better scripts and systemize the process so you can get the touch points and follow-ups that you need to succeed. And that's exactly what we're doing today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's dive right in. To effectively succeed in cold calling, you need to follow a 4-step framework. The first step in that framework is identify what your goal is for each and every single call. Are you effectively trying to get more information about your prospect? Are you trying to pre-qualify your prospect for a booked appointment? What are you trying and hoping to derive from each and every call? That is going to make it very definitive on what the objective is and how you pre-frame the rest of the framework in order to succeed in that call. Over at Conversionly, our objective for cold calling is to get in contact with as many prospects as possible, get them interested, and then pre-qualify them for a sales demo. No matter what your objective is, you need to identify that first. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do step 2, 3, and 4. Step number 2, you need to have your benchmarks and KPIs outlined. For instance, if your objective is to close 20 deals this week, then you need to know what your conversion rate is, how many calls you need to make to get that many sales. Ultimately, you can reverse engineer this. First step, identify how many sales you want to make. Then look at your close percentage. If you're closing at 20%, then you need to have 100 pitches made in order to close 20 deals. 20% of 100 equals 20 deals. So what do you need to pitch 100 prospects? Well, you need to have 215 appointments booked. If you only have a 50% show up rate, that means you need to get 200 people booked on the calendar every single week. In order to have 200 people booked on your calendar every single week, you need to have 1,000 prospects that you speak to. Now, I know that seems like daunting numbers. However, whatever your numbers are, you need to break them down so you know how many dials you need to make every single day, how many follow-ups, touch points, etc. That way you can track the performance of cold calling as one of the prospecting methods for your outreach campaign. Number 3, having a system in place that is designed to help you hit your benchmarks and KPIs. For instance, over at Conversionly, we built the Prospecting Academy. It is a complete turnkey system along with SOPs, everything that you can use for outbound prospecting for a B2B or B2C situation. Now, with that said, we follow that same system because we can upload thousands of leads every single day and then power dial them. That way we can get all the touch points we need and we can track their progression throughout the follow-up cycle. If you want more information on the Prospecting Academy, feel free to click the link down below and set up a time with our team so you can get started with the Prospecting Academy today. No matter what system you decide to use, there are 3 components of that system that you should have. You should have pre-built campaigns that you can follow up with the leads on. What I mean by a pre-built campaign is it's already set in stone the follow-up process that you're going to implement. Then from there, based off your tracking and your analytics, you can determine whether you need to add or remove different components of that follow-up system. That way you can get the touch points that are needed. In general, you want to have at least 8 touch points with your prospects in a cold calling campaign. Typically, prospects are more likely to answer the phone between the hours of 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. and again 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. rather than the rest of the day. Now, logic would tell you the reason why is that's when people start their day and they end their day. They're usually traveling to and from work, and that is the easiest time to get them on the phone. Without a system, you have no way to truly track what you're doing, how many people you followed up with, where they're at in that follow-up progression, and how to track which ones are actually serious in what you're doing. A couple other systems that we recommend you may take a look at would be something like Five9 Cloud Solutions, in which you can set up predictive dialing campaigns. You can use something like Ring Central that can set up outbound call campaigns, etc. Ultimately, the objective of what you're trying to do is pre-schedule campaigns in a system that dials the numbers for you so you can focus on your scripts and converting those leads into appointments. In the fourth and final step of the cold calling framework, we have another framework. This framework is the scripting framework, and this is everything that is going to help you derive success whenever you're cold calling and speaking with a prospect. There are 5 different portions to every single script: diffusion, introduction, what you are calling for, qualifying, and lastly, your call to action. Let's break these down by every single component. Diffusion. Diffusion is instantly, when you call a prospect, they are going to be resistant to talking to you. In the diffusion stage of your script, this is the very first thing that's going to happen when you get on the phone with a prospect. All prospects are going to be caught off guard when you call them. That's why cold calling is so effective, because you're able to interrupt their pattern and get them on the phone. However, if you don't deliver your diffusion and execute it well, you will set yourself up for failure for the rest of the call. Now, what we mean by diffusion is, hey John, how's the weather over in San Francisco? Nobody cares, pal. Diffusion is recognizing, hey, I'm interrupting you, but I'm gonna make it worth your time. An example of this would be, hey John, did I catch you in the middle of something? Well, yes, Zach, you did catch me in the middle of something. I totally get it, John. I'm gonna make this super short. And then you go directly into your introduction, okay? So you wanna make sure you say, hey, I know you're busy, but this will take just a quick minute. Diffuse the situation, recognize that they're busy, and get on with it. The next is the introduction. Give the elevator pitch punchline of who you are, where you're from, what you do, and how it's going to benefit them. The big thing you want to identify here is your name, your company, and the transformation you deliver for your clients. An example of an introduction would be, hey, my name is Zach over at Conversionly, and we help real estate agents in the San Francisco area convert 42.11% more leads into booked appointments in as little as 2 weeks. Now, that identifies who I am, the company I'm with, and relates to John because John's a real estate agent, and it shows data with the end result and the transformation that John probably wants. That's something that might pique John's interest. This leads in to the third step of your cold calling framework, and that is, why are you calling them? When you deliver this statement, you want to add a personal touch. The best thing you can do in these situations is show that you did your research on that person. You actually invested time into who they are. That way it shows you came ready to play. This is your opportunity to build rapport with the prospect. With the personalization component, an example of that could be, hey John, I saw you're a Zillow Premier agent. How's that going for you? You ask a question related to a personal touch, and then you transition that into what you're doing. Hey John, I saw you're a Zillow Premier agent. How's that going for you? Well, we've been doing that for the last couple months. Why do you ask? Well, we actually work with a lot of Zillow Premier agents and help them converting the leads that they're paying a lot of money for on Zillow into booked appointments using a highly trained ISA. The reason I was calling is because it looks like you could benefit from having an ISA. Or rather than going on the pitch side, you could ask them, are you using an ISA to convert the leads that you're generating from Premier into appointments to make that a viable investment? Ultimately, it doesn't matter how you structure that sentence. Objectively, what you want to achieve is a personalized statement on why you're calling, maybe ask a little question that gets a response and allows you the ability to continue the discussion and move forward. It's typically in this situation where they're gonna hang up on you, they're gonna say, no, I'm not interested, yeah, that's not for me, and look at that as a positive sign. It saved you time to get on to the next prospect. Step number 4, data gathering. The worst thing you can do is get a bunch of prospects who are not qualified for your service into a booked appointment, only for them to tell you, yeah, I ain't got money. The biggest thing you want to do in your cold calling is make sure those prospects are qualified for the next steps. So use this stage as the ability to collect more information about your prospect, see if they're a good fit, and then leverage that against them to get them to book an appointment. An example of this, if we were calling about our ISA service to real estate agents, in this case, John, then we could ask him questions like, what ISA services have you tried in the past? How many leads are you generating every single month? How are you at converting those leads into booked appointments? John, do you feel like you have enough time to follow up with all those leads while you're doing showings, you're doing your own personal networking, you're working with marketing companies to generate leads, etc.? Use this to collect information about their pain points, their fears. What is it that they're actually struggling with? And cover up those type of questions. Don't just come out and say, hey, what are your pain points? What are you struggling with? What do you fear? Frame your questions in a way that is going to allow you to collect their pains and fears, identify their goals and what it is that they want to achieve in a way that makes sense for their product or service. As I just noted right there, we were asking, how many leads are you generating? Do you feel like you actually have enough time to follow up with those leads? How many touch points are you getting with those leads? Did you know, John, that the average consumer requires 12 times to be followed up with over a span of 14 days? Leverage these questions so you can crack through John's armor, get him to put down his guard so you can ask for what it is you want, which leads into step number 5. Ask for what you want. If you're going to get anything out of this cold call, you need to ask for it. With that said, you can use segues into booking appointments. So, John, I see that you're generating 100 leads a month, but you're only getting on the phone with maybe 2 of them every single month. And from everything you told me, it looks like you're struggling to follow up with those leads and don't really have time. If I could show you a way that you could book 42% more of those leads into appointments and not add any more time to your plate, would you be interested in a quick demo to show you what we have going on? That's a segue into asking for what I want, using his information that he gave me against him, and giving him a huge delivery to get him interested in the service that we have. As soon as they respond, don't let them tell you the time they're available. Ask, and provide 2 options so it feels like it's their decision. Don't say, does 3 p.m. on Friday work for you? It rarely ever does. Or they'll say yes just to get out of this phone call. What you want to do is give them a decision to make with 2 options. So, John, does morning or afternoon appointments work best for you? There, John has to start thinking about his schedule and actually pull it up. Mornings actually work good for me. Perfect, I have an opening tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. What do you say I go ahead and put you down for that, John? That gives John the opportunity to make a decision, think about his actual schedule, and make a commitment for that time. Ultimately, at this stage, you want to use the information you collected throughout the call to position it in a way that you can get your ask and let it feel like it's them making the decision. That covers our 4-step framework on succeeding with cold calling. However, we do have a few pro tips that can help you perform well on these calls. One of the things that you ultimately want to do with all of your cold calling is record them. If you can, at least record yourself, because then you can go back, take notes on how you're delivering certain speech components of your script. What is your tonality? Are you future pacing? Are you matching what the prospect is saying? Are you using the same tones as them? Are you leading them in the direction you want to go? In this, you are recording yourself so you can take notes to identify weaknesses in how you're delivering your script so you can perform better. Pro tip number 2, always write down the objections that you get. Why people are saying no. Look, if you're cold calling, you're going to get no 99.9% of the time. With that, the more objections you get from the prospect and write them down, then you can create an answer for it. And you can answer it 5, 10 different ways and keep doing it. Test different ways that you've answered those objections and then deliver them in your next call when you get that objection. Ultimately, what you want to do here is create an objection Bible that you can then use and reference to throughout your cold calling process. 2 of the biggest objections that you're ever going to get from your prospects are, I don't have the time, or no, I'm not interested. When handling those objections, always reverse it back on them. Hey, Zach, unfortunately, now's not a good time. Hey, I totally understand, John. When is a good time? When is a good time for you to fix your lead problem? When is a good time for you to fix your appointment problem? Make them truly sit back and create that emotional connection. When am I going to make time for this? When am I going to make time to fix the problem that I'm faced with? Handling objections like this can be abrasive and it can be uncomfortable for you to do that. However, suck it up, Buttercup. The last tip that we can bring up here is stop talking about your mechanism. Nobody cares that you run Facebook ads. Nobody cares that you have this big, shiny software. What they care about is the outcome that they are going to derive by working with you. You notice how I rarely talked about our system, our CRM, how many times we send automated text messages or emails, or how we have a predictive dialer to make it easy, or that we recruit bilingual ISAs throughout South America that only work for $4 to $6 an hour for our clients. I did not mention any of those mechanisms. What I mentioned to John was I can take 42% more of your leads and get them on your calendar, and you don't have to follow up with those leads, and it saves you more time. That is ultimately what John wants. So talk about the transformation that you're providing and that you're going to deliver for your clients rather than talking about the mechanism in which you do it. Chances are they've already had some experience with the mechanism in some way, shape, or form, and talking about it is only going to bring up negative emotion from that experience in the past. Alternatively, they may not know about that mechanism. So then they're going to be shut off to it because they're confused. And you are never going to address those objections in your initial call. So What you want to do is talk about the transformation that you're providing and as little about the mechanism as possible, and utilize your demo as your ability to talk more about the mechanism if and when they ask those questions. That concludes everything we have on cold calling. Just kidding. We have more to offer, but in that case, you got to click the link down in the description to learn more about the Prospecting Academy and how you can leverage cold calling in a system that we designed, maybe perfected, and would like to share with you. If that's something you're interested in, click the link down in the description below. With that said, guys, thanks for tuning in today. We look forward to seeing you in the next one.